this brief video, I'll explain the who and what about the United States Sentencing Commission. The Commission is a small, independent agency in the judicial branch of the federal government created by Congress in the Sentencing Reform Act of 1984 in response to both a concern regarding sentencing disparities and also a desire to promote transparency and proportionality in sentencing. First, I'll explain the who. The Commission is composed of up to 7 voting commissioners who are nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate, the Attorney General or the Attorney General's designee, and the Chair of the U.S. Parole Commission both serve as ex officio non-voting members of the Commission. The Commission consults regularly with 4 advisory groups that represent the views of crime victims, criminal law practitioners, probation officers, and tribal lands. Commission staff is composed of lawyers, researchers, and other professionals. Current and former commissioner bios can be found on our website. So now that we have an understanding of who the Sentencing Commission is, it's worth pointing out some areas of the criminal justice system that the agency is not involved in, since there can be some confusion about the Commission's role. While the Commission sets policies considered by the federal courts at sentencing, which I'll explain shortly, the Commission does not adjudicate cases and is not itself a sentencing body. This means that the Commission does not have any authority over individual sentencing or resentencing outcomes. The Commission also does not have the authority to grant clemency. Only the President has the power to grant clemency. And while the Commission does have a policy statement in the guidelines about compassionate release, this, as well as prison location and early release, are ultimately up to the Bureau of Prisons and the courts to decide. Instead, the Commission serves as a clearinghouse of information for not only other federal agencies and members of Congress, but also for practitioners, researchers, and the public. The mission of the Sentencing Commission is 3-part and intersects with all 3 branches of the federal government. First, the Commission assists the judicial branch by establishing clear and effective guidance for the federal courts, including guidelines to be consulted regarding the appropriate type and severity of punishment for offenders who are convicted of federal crimes. Second, the Commission advises and assists Congress and the executive branch in the development of effective and efficient crime policy. Third, the Commission collects, analyzes, and distributes a wide array of information related to federal crime and sentencing and makes it available to the public at large. The Commission also trains judges and other practitioners on the use and application of the sentencing guidelines. All of this information, from data to the sentencing guidelines themselves, are available to the public on our website at www.ussc.gov. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in staying up to date on the Commission's work, you can sign up for our email listserv on our homepage, or you can follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn.